morning. This video is relatively quick. It's about a Sharp carousel microwave oven. The issues it had was the other day my wife went to open it, put something in, and when she went to start it, the counter would count down, but the microwave didn't turn on, wasn't doing anything. Just the counter was working. All the buttons worked, but it wouldn't engage the microwave, which led me to believe that there was something wrong with one of the latches or interlocks. And I came down and opened it up and found that there's a piece of plastic behind the silver button right here that you use to open the door, and there was a piece broken off of it. And that piece, actually it wasn't a piece, it was part of the hinge, and without that it wouldn't open the door, and it wouldn't depress the interlock when the door was closed, so the microwave wouldn't turn on. I was able to fix that relatively easy. Well, I took it, and as you can see here, I took the plastic and I used some 30-minute epoxy and some fiberglass and cut out some pieces and mixed up the resin, and I also used some plastic solvent to hold the piece on the plastic long enough for the epoxy to set. Once I had an initial amount of epoxy in it, it started setting up, and it had the fiberglass. Everything was set up. I then mixed up a second batch and applied some more fiberglass to the places that I missed. Let that set up for 30 minutes, and then used a pair of flush cutters to remove all the excess pieces. The other issue I had was that the LED display had become dim sometime in the last several months. Between the time when we moved to this house, the display was suddenly just really dim, and I took it out and I was testing it, and it seemed like all the LEDs were working, but they just were very, very dim. And so, as you can see here, I took the board out. I removed the old LEDs. I just used diagonal cutters to break them off, and unfortunately I didn't take a picture. The LEDs in question were about a quarter of the size of the ones you see on it now. Once I got most of the LEDs off, I used my soldering gun to remove the solder and any excess bits, and then I used something to scrape the paint off of the top and expose the trace, and use the trace as a soldering pad. And I used some SMD solder, low temperature solder, and just resoldered the new LEDs in place. And now, as you can see, the display is much brighter. This display is like insanely bright compared to what it was even when we bought it. So anyways, that's it. That's how oh, and the part that broke, I actually ordered one. It was like $17 or something like that, and I ordered it because I wasn't sure if my repair would hold, and even if it broke, I'd rather have if it broke again, I'd rather have a part here and ready to go. So that's it. Later.